Maneva na sema PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV de osia dem yopo.
You're most welcome to PENDREAM TV, the only channel that brings you the best and latest updates in politics. If you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for more updates. Like and also share to other members to watch as well. You can also leave a comment after watching or send us a voice note through our WhatsApp number, which is 0277128777. Thank you. Please do subscribe as a first timer. Like, share and also comment on the video that you're about to watch. Thank you. Without much ado, I would like you to join me listening to what we have for you today.
Of the National Democratic Congress. Malik, good evening. Welcome to the program.
Good evening, Salom. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure having you every time.
Yeah.
You know, how are you doing? How is the party? We realize there's some issues in Assin Central and a few other places.
Oh, they've been resolved. I mean, so far so good. I mean, FEC took a decision. We felt that people had acted unconstitutionally, and the constitution had to be invoked to address certain matters. It was done, and I think that everyone is content with the decisions.
Everyone is content, but the persons and their supporters will not be content.
Yeah, but it has to do with the constitution. It has to do with legalities. It has to do with law. You would have to appear before a committee to either, I mean, to defend yourself, to explain why you took such actions. Forms are bought from national officers. We don't buy parliamentary forms from constituency or from regional officers. The constitution has been very clear on that. It takes only the national body to suspend any officer. And I mean, you cannot even expunge an officer just like that. He has to face the committee, and the committee would have to, I mean, find him guilty or otherwise. So we feel that, look, if a person is innocent until proven guilty, and we've been crying all around as a political party, that look, let the laws work, let the system work. If it's something that affects the internal organs of the party, we need to crack the whip so that, I mean, all other Ghanaians will know that, look, if the NDC should come to power, would sanitize the judicial system, would clean it, and would ensure that justice and fairness is done from all angles. And so we are demonstrating that internally.
So in this specific issue, the NDC parliamentary candidate for Assin Central was withdrawn supposedly by the regional chair and the constituency chair. Illegal. And so the party had to relook at the matter, reinstated the parliamentary candidate, and now suspended the regional secretary, or regional chairman, and the constituency secretary.
Yeah, the regional chairman. The regional chairman. I mean, and so, I mean, we were looking at the matters. I think that the regional chairman will appear before the committee, he will defend himself. The committee will make some findings on his case, and at the end of the day, I mean, sanity will be brought. I think that, yes, sometimes we've got to respect laws in this country. Or other than that, one day we'll wake up and then somebody will write a letter suspending a constituency secretary, or somebody will write a letter suspending even a regional chairman. You understand? And then people will start suspending each other. Like at CTFM here, you come in the morning, the security man says you are fired. Is that how they fire people? Or you get up from the studio and you go out and tell the security man, look, you are fired because you did A, B, and C. There's a structure. There are things that must be respected. And even at CTFM, I believe that you cooperate with some of the laws and the procedures of your internal administration. And so that's
very
all
well.
we are
Good. So now, how is the campaign? How is your party? How is your candidate, John Mahama? How is he doing? How is the running mate? How is everybody?
But they are so fine. They are so good. I mean, yes, it's not easy running a campaign under hardships. It's not easy running a campaign where you have to buy a gallon of petrol for almost 100 Ghana cedis. It's not easy running a campaign where these days you take your car for service, and those days anytime I service my car, you service for 80 cedis. These days anytime I service for 800 cedis.
You're using a big car, very expensive car.
No, same car I was using when I used service for 80 Ghana cedis, because a gallon of oil, I used to buy 2 gallons, one for 40 Ghana cedis. Today 1 gallon of oil is 350 Ghana cedis. You can ask anyone. I mean, obviously the car you've been using, servicing has gone high. Tires, I used to buy a tire for my car. I remember those days I used to buy a tire for 75 85, 80. The highest was 100, 120. These days, your tie, you want to buy a brand new tie, you're talking of 1,000 Ghana cedis. Cost of living is obviously high, and you would also have to campaign with vehicles because, of course, you cannot sit on the back of, you can't ride a bicycle from here to Kulungungu. So you will have to go way transport. And so it's difficult. It's not easy, but he's been meeting the people because the people have to make a choice, and you would have to present to them your superior messages. The people
but the allegation or the issue really is that people think that your candidates and the running mate are not moving fast enough, or they are not moving at all. They don't feel them on the ground. I mean, recently we saw Bawumia move around the country. I mean, a lot of people felt his movement, but it does appear that people are not seeing the NDC's candidate and his running mate. What was the matter with that?
There are differences in campaign, first of all. I mean, I've said that you either campaign to formulate policy or to exhibit your manifesto. These are the two reasons why you'll be going to the Ghanaian people. If you want President Mahama to be walking on the streets like Bawumia has been doing, he can do that.
But that gives him the visibility and convinces people. Why
people
not?
don't vote based on visibility. People vote based on policies. They need to listen to what you've got for them. I was in the Bono region and I went to the magazine and I asked them, why is it that you guys gave Bawumia a steer? They said when he came here, he kept on shouting, Mama Mistia no, Mama Mistia no. So they asked somebody to bring a home use Opel Vectra steer and they put it in his hands and they said, take this steer, and he was blowing the horn. He left there with no message. So I asked them, okay.
No, the message is Mama Mistia. Give me the steer. Make me the number one.
So if people want to look at President Mahama bringing fixed rates at the port to Mama Mistiano, and they would still vote for Mama Mistiano and clear a container at over 2 billion Ghana cedis, 200,000 Ghana cedis, then they should go on. So the choice is yes. If you want President Mahama to be roaming on the streets like Bawumia, I watched a video where he alighted at the market and he kept waving and people said, arrest the dollar. Then he said, Inshallah.
I mean, wow, it means when he comes, he will do it. If he comes, he will do it.
It means that the dollar is in the house of God. President Mahama has been formulating policy. He's been telling the people what he will do for them. He went to the mining communities. He said he will set up mining refineries. He went to cocoa communities. He said he will set up cocoa refineries. He went to meet the artisans. He said, well, look, I would institute a system where all of you upon graduation would get some little support to start up your businesses. He went to meet the GPRTU. He said, we'll give you a pension scheme. He met cashew farmers. He said, I'll give you a cashew board. All around. He met hospitals. He said, nurses, don't worry. When I come into office, I'll complete all abandoned hospitals and will recruit all of you. He met teachers. He told them, don't worry. I am known to have built many schools in this country. I built many hospitals. I built many universities. Upon assumption of office, I'll continue to build them. I'll complete what I had already started and we'll be able to employ all of you. I think that all these people, Saturday we'll be meeting you media people. Are you aware? We'll be meeting the media.
There was a meeting supposed to have happened, but that didn't happen. So we are looking forward to it.
We'll meet you guys. And we are not doing it in secrecy. It's not a secret meeting. I mean, other political parties are meeting media houses. We heard of one meeting at Tank Palace where there was secret. I understand Samira put a bag of Gary and Shito to the people. I want them not to eat it though. But we would have a meeting.
What you did was Gary and Shito, 7 people Gary and Shito at Tank Palace. Is that what you're saying?
I heard they put some things in a bag. Some thing I don't know because it was
I don't know. But
on the 7th of July we'll be meeting you people. We are not doing it in secrecy. It's going to be telecasted live for everyone to see. You want to share your concerns. You want to hear, look, you are behind the console. How is life? How much does your salary fit into your standard of living? Is it good for you? How much do you buy fuel? How have you been working? How do you pay electricity tariffs? How do you pay water bills? How do you pay the school fees of your children? So we'll meet you guys and we'll take your concerns. Has there been press freedom? The last time they hit the ground of Caleb Kuda, how is he doing? Is he fine? President Mahama says upon assumption of office, you tame things down. So these are some of the things we are going to be taking, some of the concerns.
Very well. So
how Caleb Kuda is doing?
Yeah,
is he fine?
So I'm sure Caleb Kuda will be there, and then he's okay. He's very good. He's been traveling around the country. I mean, he's been very well. By God's grace, inshallah. Good. All right. So all of these are geared towards the messaging. So the messaging should translate into votes more or less. Now there's a poll conducted by Global Info Analytics, which has been quite consistent in churning out polls. A lot of the polls Info Analytics has churned out have been very favorable to the NDC. Now, the latest poll released yesterday suggests that John Mahama is losing some grounds. Before, he led by 54%. Now, that lead is being eaten into, and now it's at 51%. 51 is still good enough to win the election, but it does appear that Bawumia, who was at 30, 34 in the previous one in April. It's now climbed up to 38. I mean, how does the NDC see this?
Well, any politician who would say research work is not important to your work or to your cause, it's not serious as a political party. And that's why both parties, I mean, all parties have a research unit. We'd only have to tally our research we've been doing to what all other organizations have been doing. I wouldn't say it is what we've been doing is similar to what Musa Dankwa has done or what the Global Info Analytics has done. I won't say it is the same because, of course, in every research work, you would have to, first of all, look at the terms of references. You have to look at the standards, the questionnaire, questions that were asked, and all of that before you arrive at a conclusion. We have expanded our research work in terms of the party structure. Maybe Musa's own is limited, and so his results may be slightly different from what we have been getting all through, these days. But won't rubbish his, won't condemn
So
his.
how different is your results, your internal polls from this?
For example, if you look at his terms of reference, and there is nowhere where he asked people between all the candidates who is a chief liar. In our internal research, we have been asking the people who is a chief liar, and they keep saying Dr. Bawumia. That is not here. In his research, we haven't asked the people who cracks the greatest comedy, who has been dancing.
But how consequential is that?
We have been doing that. It is important because, you see, people vote based on different things. There's a village where you put a ballot box of Lewin, who is a comedy actor. You put another one of Dr. Koroma. People vote for Lewin because that is what... that's the reference they use in voting, and you agree with me that someone can look at you and say, look, Salom, you are so handsome, and so I'd vote for you. That's his reference. But we will stick this conversation to the referencing being used here, and then we'll analyze whatever has been done. First, there was a question as to who is a man of his own words. 29% of people responded to that. There was a question about who has a greater integrity. 30% of people said that will influence their votes. There was a question about who can transform the country. 42% of people said that will influence theirs. What the two things that had the highest had to do with the competencies and who is a better manager of the economy. And that brings us to the analysis. So first, if you see Dr. Bawumia's votes appreciate, one, he's the latest candidate to have completed his tour. President Mahama held 2 tours. He had a listening tour and he had a building the Ghana tour, you remember? And he went around the country. From those times, he's been, picking up, doing some little door-to-door and all of that. Dr. Bawumia recently went around. He made a lot of jokes, cracked a lot of comedy, promised people like he's been doing. And Salom, look, there are people who would listen to Bawumia and then believe in his promises again, only for them to realize a day or two after he's left, or a day or two after these polls, that tomato still sells at 3 for 10 Ghana cedis, that a gallon of petrol still sells at 100 Ghana cedis, that you still go to pay your electricity tariffs at a higher rate, that you change the dollar for 15 Ghana cedis, and all of that. And so those people who may have believed in Dr. Bawumia's new promises and have forgotten the character of the same person who has come again to promise them would change their decision again a day or two after. And this research, if you looked at it, it was conducted same time Dr. Bawumia was finishing winding up his campaign. And so obviously if you go and talk to people who had immediately just listened to the Alhaji Bawumia's promises, they'll obviously say, look, hey, the man, he has come to promise again, so we believe him. It would take a month or two for people to realize that, look, was it not this same man who came and told us he would do this for us? Was it not this same man who promised us jobs? Was it not this same man who promised to stabilize the city? In fact, was it not this same man who told us he had arrested the city and the key was with the IGP? And so they would now realize that, look, all this man had been saying were just empty promises and all of that. But particularly on this research, the question about who better manages the economy, I think it's a question all Ghanaians can easily answer that. You simply have to look at prices of goods and services under President Mahama, and then you look at prices of commodities under Nana Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia.
Well, is it not a fact that, I mean, many factors, of course, the tired excuse of COVID and Russia, Ukraine, I mean, those have been significant influences of what is happening now, and it's been across the globe.
That matter has been settled. I mean, even Ukraine that has been struggling, President Akufo-Addo was there begging for things. The country that takes the bombs. Your president went there to beg them for commodities, beg them for grains and what have you. And so if that country that takes the bombs
And that country has a lot more assistance coming to you from the West than almost everybody.
You are going to beg from them. Then you cannot use that war as an excuse. In other words, COVID gave this government over 30 billion. What did they do with it? The Auditor General unraveled that they shared COVID money like granules. They wasted over 11 billion on chop. They were unable to account for it. The remaining 10 billion they shared all in corrupt dealings. The Auditor General unraveled it. People who had cooked during COVID-19 and had not even raised certificates were paid huge sums of money. A facility was built at Adakulu at over 15 million, used 21 million to renovate it and abandoned it to the mercy of the weather. So COVID was good news to Nanado, COVID was good news to Bawumia, and it was because of COVID that they had huge sums of money in this economy. And they cannot use that as an excuse to why things were doing bad. In other words, in 2019, things were already poor. The dollar had already depreciated by over 42%. In 2019, we're already changing a dollar at 7 cedi 50 pesos. We're already buying a gallon of petrol at over 75 cedis in 2019. And the World Bank country director had already told us that Ghana was heading into a ditch and the managers of the economy were just recklessly mismanaging things and all of that. In 2020, during COVID, your president was flying a private jet, whining and dining around at 14,000 pounds an hour. So COVID could not be used as a basis. But I am concerned about the research that is being done and how people are responding to it. Yes, 51.1% is good to win an election because we only need 50.1%.
But between April and July, losing 3 percentage points.
That's because Alhaji Bawumia was on a campaign trail.
Yeah, and he will continue to be on a campaign trail.
Again, another reason why people were asking may have voted for them, we are only sitting here to judge, was probably because of his choice of running mates. There were many people who thought he was going to settle for Educhum. If you looked at the research, a lot of first-time voters who had completed senior high school voted for Bawumia. And if you looked at the research, was one of the reasons why he appreciated in votes, why the MPP appreciated in votes, was because of the first-time voters.
A lot of closed the gap.
Absolutely, a lot of these people may have thought that he was going to select Educhum.
No, but
Educhum was at the forefront of being selected.
No, but at that time, in fact, if it's a free SHS, NAPO was the guy who implemented the free SHS.
I'm only saying that may have thought that he was going to select Educhum. There were a lot of people who may have even thought that he was going to select Chairman Sabonsu. There were people who thought he was going to select Natoshi. So there were various people who may have thought that, look, Dr. Bawumia is very incredible. Dr. Bawumia is not fit to be president in this country because he has a very bad track record. But maybe if he selects a viable running mate, we would.
So that viable running mate is NAPO.
Now
very strong character in the Ashanti region.
Bad candidate.
Very strong character in the Ashanti region. People, one who is able to rally people around, and that is what you need in politics.
He was the same person who said senior high school students without toilets could defecate in poly bags. He told us that. It was the same person who told us that if we wanted to a timetable of Doomso, arrogantly told you and I that we should go and create our timetable. If we thought that we understood Doomso better than him. He was the same person that after Professor Nana Jane had struggled to take us out of the shift system, took us back to a shift system, a very archaic system of traffic light, red, yellow, green. Today, you find kids in the house, you don't even know when they are going to school. It was the same person. It was the same person who promised teacher trainees and SN trainees allowances, came into office and paid them 2 months and stopped paying them. So he has a very broad track record. Aside all the solid mechanisms that had been instituted in our energy sector, it was the same person who came and took us back to Doomso, and today lights go off recklessly here and there. The same man. So people know the man NAPO. People know how arrogant he is. People know how he's very confrontational, how he lacks temperament, how he lacks the competencies to fit in the space of being a running mate. And he's been remembered for so many wrong things. He sat in parliament, a whole member of parliament, telling his colleague that you are mad, come out and let's go and fight. If you are strong, let's go outside and fight.
Despite
these are things.
But of course, he's also credited as the one who led the chance or the way for a lot of people to have access to secondary education. That you cannot take away from.
We can take that away from him.
That he didn't lead a charge to get people into secondary school free SHS. No. He implemented a flagship policy.
No, the flagship policy had started in 2016.
No, I mean the free, not the progressive one, the radically free.
It wasn't radical.
No, I mean everybody who qualified went to school.
No, it's not true.
Everybody who qualified went to school.
In 2017, only first years enjoyed free SHS.
No, what I mean is,
how did the people get to second year?
What I mean is, it had to start from
2016.
Malik, it had to start from a point, and they said it was going to start in 2017. And so in 2017, people who came out of the BECE all went to school and it was free.
Yes, but in 2016, when they said it was going to start in 2017, they came and told us around October that even though President Mahama had started it, he should not be commended for it. And they were coming to make sure that all students go free at a go. They told you and I that. They said, when we told them progressively free, they said no, they will let all students go free. 2017, when they came, our batch that had gone free continued free. 2018, the second batch joined. It was progressive. And so he cannot be credited for starting a policy he knew very little about, because they confessed in October 2016 that President Mahama, even though had started progressively free SHS, they were coming on board to do it differently, and they were coming to make sure that all students go free at the go, which didn't materialize. And so he cannot be credited for that. Rather, like I said, he should be credited for the traffic light system. He should be credited for discontinuing teacher training and nursing training allowances. He should be credited for halting and stagnating all our e-blocks that we had commenced. That should have made sure that people got access to education. He was the one who stopped the automatic posting of teachers. If you remember, under President Mahama, you complete the teacher training and you are posted the next day. NAPO was the one who stopped it. And today we have a lot of unemployed teachers, graduate teachers sitting at home. He was the one who instituted a very rigid and robust licensing system where you write so many exams and you finish and they say, look, go and write another license, pay money, they fail people here and there recklessly and all of that. So he's imposed tough hardships on teachers in this country. The quota system. I know somebody who has very good grades. Baga Training College, Tamale Training College. Under President Mahama used to recruit over 820 students. Today, as a result of the quota system NAPO brought, you and I, our sisters and brothers, cannot get access to it because they recruit only 200 students a term. And that affects the teacher training institutions and the nursing training institutions. So he's not a viable candidate. He brings nothing on board. I have repeatedly said he's the last nail to hit the casket. Look, if you tie a donkey cart to a dead donkey, it cannot go to Savlogo. It will continue to be in Accra. Now, if you tie NAPO to Bawumia, who is already condemned, they cannot take you anywhere. And so we will win the election. We will continue to work hard. Though research is good, the reality is good. We are on the grounds. We'll continue to hit. See you on Saturday. We have a lot of engagements to do with you, media men.
Very well.
Thank you. PENDREAM TV really appreciate your time. Please, if you have not yet subscribed as a new member, please do so for us. Hit the notification bell to keep you tuned for any updates that will be loaded onto the channel. Thank you.
PENDREAM TV now, so far so good. Say open online portal e Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.